In this video, I'm giving you the secrets of million-dollar Amazon sellers. Because what I'm about to show you is the detailed methods behind being able to find products like this one right here that I bought on sale for $15, sells 125 times a month, and after each time I sell this product, I'm gonna make $5 in profit, and that's just one example. Because the reality of selling on Amazon is that there are tons and tons of good products to sell on Amazon, but finding them profitably is the obvious difficult part. So in this video, we're going to dive into this Google Doc right here together. It's going to be downloadable down below if you want to check it out, but I'm going to go through all 12 of the major discount methods that you need to be using as an Amazon seller if you really want to turn a profit doing online arbitrage, wholesale, or just selling name brand products in general. So I'm not going to beat around the bush. Let's go point by point here. If you guys do like this style of content, please hit that subscribe button down below and leave a comment. Let me know that you're loving it, that type of stuff. And let's just jump into it. So the first discounting method that is going to allow you to find tons of winning products like this example right here is literally just looking at simple sales, right? I'm going to go from probably like the simpler options to the more complex and higher level stuff. So the number one thing you want to think about is make sure you're sourcing on some kind of sale that's going on. Whenever you're sourcing products that are just sitting there at retail price, they're there all the time, it's just not going to stay profitable typically because it's just too easy for someone to come in and compete with you. And that's why all 12 of these discount methods, and usually stacking at least 2 or 3 of them, is essential to really make a lot of money as an Amazon seller. So for example, we got a big sale going on at Reebok, right? We can go ahead and check this out, and we're going to see a ton of these shoes and shirts and all that type of stuff that have an up to 50% off sale going on. Here's another example, just some super quick, like a bunch of name brand products that are way discounted compared to normal. Got some North Face. If you are a brand new Amazon seller, you probably sell some like Under Armour, lots of these other big brands that you can still sell on Amazon. Finding them on sale is that first easiest way to figure out, all right, where should I spend some time sourcing today? Whenever you're finding like site-wide sales and stuff like that, go ahead and dive in. And then a really cool free tool you can use for this is called SalesGazer. You basically just sign up for a bunch of email lists for free, and it basically shows you which sales are going on every day, right? And so that's something I like to check to find those sales. Another one, this kind of is very similar, goes hand in hand with sales, is going to be coupons, and coupons are extremely important. You can use the email list you have, you can use SalesGazer, you can also use tools like Coupon Birds. Any website that lists a ton of coupons that are going on is going to be a great idea. So for example, I noticed that Michael's today, they're doing 20% off on regular purchased items as long as you spend like 15 bucks, right? So obviously we're buying stuff to resell. We're going to have no problem spending 15 bucks. It's also like back to school season while I'm recording this video. So it's probably a pretty good time to jump in there and start looking for some of these products that are, you know, back to school focused. Paper craft. We could check out like art supplies and kids, that type of stuff. Like all of these categories that we're breaking down are probably going to be just a lot better for you to dive into, especially knowing that there's actually some kind of major sale going on, right? So it's like some albums, some scrapbooking, obviously like Crayola. So big back to school brands, all this type of stuff is going to be really good for you to take advantage of. And as far as like sourcing through sales and coupons, that's the majority of these sourcing videos on the channel. So after you watch this one, if you want to see me find tons of winning products live, you can definitely go ahead and take care of that, because I really want to just focus on the discount methods in this video, open your eyes as to what's possible. Hopefully those first 2 are pretty obvious. The third one here is where we start to get to have a little bit of extra fun, right? So anytime you're looking at a website, so look at Ulta, for example. Anytime you're looking at a website and they say, hey, every dollar you spend, you get a certain amount of points, that should tell you that there is a lot of profit to be made there. So for example, on Ulta, we can buy items, we get a dollar per point. After we've spent 1,200 bucks, that's probably an order or 2 for stuff to resell. We're getting 1.5 points back, and then we can turn that into real money for free inventory, that type of stuff. And so especially on these sites that let you just go crazy, buy as much inventory as you want to, you can start to include that in your margin, and that can make a huge difference. Some of these loyalty rewards programs that are out there, I've literally made tens of thousands of dollars just from stacking these points and cash backs and all that type of stuff, right? Loyalty rewards is a huge one. So whenever you're looking at a website, always just do a quick check and see if they have a loyalty rewards program, because what these end up doing is typically they'll add 5%, 2%. It's not typically going to be like the most insane discount when you're purchasing, but it can turn that item that's a 28% ROI, a 25% ROI into something that's a little bit closer to 30, 35. And then you're actually making some money to meet your standards. And it's just that little extra push that you can take advantage of there that it makes other people skip over that item when you know that there's a way that you can actually make money on there. So do not sleep on loyalty rewards programs. Let's go ahead and hop on to number 4. And this is going to be looping multiple emails. So if you've ever heard of like a catch-all email, you can go ahead and create a custom email address, that type of stuff with your own domain. You do that through Squarespace, but there's a really easy way to do it. And the reason why you'd want to do that is a lot of websites, they'll have something like this where you can sign up with your email and get 10% 10% off. So let's say marketgmail.com, that's your email address, right? If you want to sign up with this email address, awesome, you get that 10% off code, but we can also get that 10% off code as many times as we want without creating new email addresses. If we just do +1 plus whatever you want, as long as this string after the plus is unique, then the website is going to think it's a brand new email address. The way that Gmail works, and I think a couple other email providers as well, is whatever you put after this plus is ignored. And so it's just going to send to your regular mark@gmail.com address, and you're able to get that 10% off code over and over again. So these catch-all coupon codes are another one of those that I've made, tens of thousands of dollars taking advantage of. Do not sleep on that. That's another super quick win. It makes that not quite good product into a great product. 10% off can make a big deal a lot of times, right? So take advantage of that one right there. Number 5 is buying discounted gift cards. So when we're looking at sites to buy profitable inventory, we can include any discounted gift card cashback that we're going to be able to take advantage of. So for example, some of the videos recently I've been looking at, like the Puma website, for example, to buy profitable items. So we can go in here, and it seems like they're running a little low on gift cards today, and you can see you can buy a $100 gift card for $98. There's also other marketplaces that you can buy these gift cards through, and you can check that on cardbear.com. And this basically just aggregates a lot of the sites that do actually sell these gift cards. So for example, it seems like Card Cash might have some more of these e-gift cards. Yeah, so you can get $500 for $488, right? So it's just those little things that add on a ton of extra money in your business. A lot of sites will also have a lot more than a couple percent off. Usually Puma's a little bit better than that. So for example, Ulta today, it's got 14% discount on discounted gift cards. So that would obviously make a huge difference. So you're stacking that loyalty rewards program where you get a couple extra percent. You're stacking this where you get a 14 extra percent. And obviously that's going to make a big difference on some of these items that other people are going to be skipping. You know how to create that margin, so you can go in and actually make some money on that, right? And that takes me nicely to number 6 on the discount methods list, which is using cash back, right? So going back to that same product that let's say we found at Ulta, we could go in here and say, all right, I've got my discounted gift card, I've got my loyalty rewards going on, and now it looks like top cash back is our best cash back rate of the day. So we can, on top of all that other stuff, we can stack that 8% cash back here in this case. This just compares the cash back rates at a lot of different providers. So you can see Be Frugal, maybe the best for Puma. Some of these other websites are going to be good for other ones, right? So it just shows you all of the different cashback providers that are out there, and it shows you which ones you can get the most cashback on. So Cashback Monitor is a major gem, and cashback is another one of those that can really rack up in your Amazon business. What I will say is don't include the cashback in your margin as you are sourcing products, just because it's not super uncommon for you to buy an item, expect cashback, it doesn't pay out. Most of those providers technically don't allow resellers. So if they get in there and see that you're buying a whole bunch of the same thing over and over again, they can go ahead and cut that cashback off. In my own experience, I've seen about 50 to 60% of the transactions I place actually pay out the cashback on that. So for that reason, you don't want to bake that into your margin. That's just like nice bonus money. You can just treat it as free extra margin in your business. There's no reason not to include that. But that's just to say, as you're going through and figuring out like your true cost of things, I wouldn't recommend including, I'm going to get an 8% cashback discount basically. Just treat it as bonus money, have it as a nice bonus. Say 2 sites, the exact same sale, that kind of stuff. You probably prioritize the one with better cashback, but I wouldn't really be including that on a per unit basis as far as your cost goes. That's just a quick PSA. It's your business, run it however you want, but that's what I do in my own. And so let's go to number 7 on the discount methods list, which is going to be getting a tax exemption. And these tax exemptions can be anything from actually filing a resale permit with your state. Some websites like Walmart, Lowe's, a couple other major retailers do accept those resale permits so that you don't have to pay sales tax when you're buying your goods. So that can make a big difference. Unfortunately, most websites don't really accept it for profit companies. They require you to be a nonprofit, or it's just like those couple websites that do actually accept it. What I will say is also look into any of your state specific sales tax advantages. So for example, clothes are tax-free in Pennsylvania, grocery, vitamin, those are tax-free in Florida and a lot of other states as well. So just do a quick check and see if you have any sales tax advantages in your state, because if you do, that's probably the category that you should dive deeper on and find some opportunity. And within that, if you don't have any of those advantages, like I was paying almost 10% in the state that I got started my Amazon business in. And so that's where I started working with sales tax-free prep centers, which is our number 8 discount method here, right? So let's say we're buying a pair of shoes for $40. If we are paying 9% sales tax on that, it's going to be close to $44 for our total cost. Or just go ahead and dive into Google, search Delaware Prep Center, Montana Prep Center, New Hampshire Prep Center. Just look up that list of sales tax-free states. And then you're going to start seeing a ton of results like this. You can just hop in, start contacting them. These businesses are here because they want your money. So it's not going to be too hard to find a prep center. You might want to test out a couple before you really start going crazy and sending a lot of volume. But on that same example where you spent $40, $44 after tax on that item, most of these prep centers are going to cost like $1.50 or so per item. So not only can you pay $41.50 for that item, but you can also skip doing all the work and make more money, right? Which is a pretty rare thing in business. So you definitely definitely want to take advantage of that if you don't really have any sales tax advantages in your town. And so that's going to take us back over to the list here. And number 9 on the discounting methods, this one's going to sound a little goofy. Hear me out on this one though. On a bunch of websites, so for example, Dick's Sporting Goods we were already looking at, but a lot of these websites have this little chat box in the bottom right. You can also literally just shoot them an email and say, hey, I was thinking about buying this. Before I pull the trigger, do you have any coupons? And you'll be surprised. A lot of times these kind of customer service reps and stuff, they'll give you just like a 15-20% coupon, whatever it is that they might have in their back pocket for you. Even if it's something that is on the website already and maybe it just wasn't showing up on the coupon lists when you pop open like the Capital One shopping, maybe it didn't show up in the coupons list here for whatever reason. There's really no reason not to just shoot them an email real quick. If you found something that's like really close to good, just shoot them an email, say, hey, is there any, discounting or anything like that on this item? You have any coupons going on? And you'll be surprised how many times you'll actually get something that can move the needle for your business. And that's just one of those that a lot of people aren't really thinking about, right? And so that takes us on to the 10th discounting method that I want to talk about here. And that being making sure that you're just getting as much extra money as possible out of the credit card that you're spending money on. So I spend a lot of my money on a Spark 2% Cash Plus card, just straight up 2% cash back on every purchase that I make. You can see how that really adds up. We spend about $100,000 a month or so on inventory. So right there alone, that's $2,000 a month that I'm making just as bonus money for work that I've already got to do on my own to begin with. And you can also do this on a lot of like specific retailers, like the Walmart cashback card is a pretty good idea if you're buying a lot of stuff from Walmart. If you have another source you'd like to buy a lot of stuff from, and you can take temporary hit on your credit and that type of stuff. Obviously, make sure you're thinking about all that type of stuff before you go out and get these credit cards. Make sure your credit's in good shape and all that. But when you do find a source that you like to source a ton, maybe they've got 5% cash back is pretty common for a lot of retailers. And Walmart is a really good one where you don't usually get any like order cancels or anything funky like that. So there's no real risk behind getting this 5% cash back card. And honestly, some of these sites like Walmart, especially with 5% back, like I've looked at a lot of wholesale price sheets and I've looked at a lot of Walmart listings, and it's pretty common for this 5% cash back to be at or below a lot of major wholesale pricing. Just something to think about there. Make sure you're taking advantage of all that extra bonus money. So using these cashback intensive credit cards is definitely something you want to look into there. The 11th discounting method is not necessarily a discounting method as much as it is a way that is still extremely important, but it's just stressing how important speed is in your business, right? If you can merchant fulfill your items when you're trying to sell these products, right? So let's say you're looking at an item like this, for example, when you go in there and you say, all right, let me look at the buy box statistics to see if I can actually merchant fulfill this product, where basically we're going to ship that directly to the customer when it sells. So you can see like on the buy box analysis, see a ton of these FBM sellers have made sales within the last couple days, couple weeks, all that good stuff. So this shows me that it's a really FBM friendly item. And the reason why you would want to do FBM and ship directly to the customer is you can buy that item on sale today, you have it show up at your doorstep 2 or 3 days later, you list it that same day, and then it sells, right? So you get that proof of concept in 2 or 3 days compared to using FBA, where you typically have to wait anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks for you to start making sales on that item. Not only does that help you make money faster, but it also reduces how much competition you're going to have in the short run. Because if you're one of the fastest people to the listing, even if people are chasing you back onto that listing as well, you can be in a listing, sell out, make all the profit, and then everybody else hops on. And then let's say there's too many people bought the item or whatever it was, they weren't using enough of these discount methods that we're talking about today. Then you've already beat the rush, you've made a good amount of profit, you don't really need to worry about that. And so on that same thread, if you can't do FBM at all, maybe you're living outside the US or something like that, whatever that reason is, if you genuinely cannot do FBM, again, I'd really recommend you do. But if you have to do FBA on a lot of your items, make sure you're taking advantage of 2D barcodes. So you can use Boxem to create these 2D barcodes. And basically all I do is when I create a shipment on Boxem where I'm creating that FBA shipment, I just select 2D barcodes down here under box contents. And then it's the exact same process. All it does is it just prints out an extra label on the bottom of my shipping label. And that kind of helps Amazon have faster check-in times because it embeds a lot of information on the label instead of them having to open up your box and see what's in and scan all the items and all that type of stuff. So if you are an FBA seller, using these 2D barcodes is genuinely a no-brainer. It costs you 0 time, and you just need a tool like Boxem to go ahead and create those 2D barcodes for you. No extra work, and you get, in my experience, I've been seeing about a week faster on my check-in time. So that's a week faster. I'm starting to make sales and make profit on my items, which has been massive. I've seen a lot of other people seeing the same there. So if you don't already have Boxem, you're doing a lot of FBA shipments, you can check out a free trial link down below. And so that brings us on to our 12th discount method right here, which is just networking, building relationships, all that kind of stuff, especially with wholesalers or local retailers. If you can roll in and talk to store managers, tell them what you're after, especially you go into the store, you find something in the clearance aisle, or you find it on the actual shelf, you tell them what you need. There's a good shot that some of these retail store managers are gonna be like, sure, I'll toss in an order for you, that type of thing. I've talked to several Amazon sellers where that's their entire business model. They're doing 6-figure months. One of them that I talked to recently, his name was Justin. He did $40,000 in his first month month because he just walked around his Lowe's and then he started talking to the manager, asking what it would take for him to buy a whole bunch of couple items that he found profitably, just walking around the store, scanning items with the SellerAmp app and figuring out what was profitable. And so once you identify those items, if you roll up and talk to these store managers, talk to wholesalers on that type of stuff, you're going to make a ton of money. That's just not the typical approach that people want to take. It takes extra effort, it takes extra legwork, like all these other stuff that we're talking about today. But at the end of the day, it's the Amazon seller that does that extra legwork and goes the extra mile that's going to be hoarding all the profit for themselves. So I hope you see how important it is to be using all of these discount methods. If you don't use at least a few of them, your business genuinely will not make profit. This stuff is super, super important. A couple extra things I want to mention here at the end as well is if you don't already have SellerAmp that we were using to look through products, analyze data, all that kind of stuff, you can do so at selleramp.com. And then if you want a better tool for shipping Amazon FBA shipments, then especially Seller Central or any other software you might be using already, you can use Boxum. That's also how we get those 2D barcodes, get faster check-in times, lots of benefits from using Boxum. So I'd really recommend you check those two things out if you need some tools to power up your business. But please feel free to comment down below if you have any questions, anything like that, have any feedback, would love to hear from. And since you made it all the way to the end here, if you want to watch me source profitable products using a lot of these discount methods that we talked about today, go ahead and click this video right here and you'll see my live product research process for finding tons of winning items.